Hello students, through this video I would like to explain you one of the important poems in your textbook, that is Beehive on Killing a Tree, and it is written by G.V. Patel, and this is really a fantastic poem and gives us an invaluable message. Let me give you introduction of this poem first. What does the poet want to tell us through this poem? And that the poet sensitizes the reader and highlights the fact that trees are living things. Trees are also living beings like humans. They also have feelings and they also grow and possess all the characteristics that a living being has. The poet equates trees with humans to convey that trees should not be cut because destroying trees is just like killing a human being. See, the poet attributes human qualities to the trees here, and he says that we should not destroy, we should not kill trees. It's an inhuman act. It is very uncivilized act to kill a tree. A tree does not die by merely cutting because it grows from where it is cut. So it's not an easy job, it's not an easy endeavor to kill a tree. It takes a lot of effort, and if we just cut the trunk of the tree and leave it, we cannot kill the tree or destroy the tree completely. Okay, we have to uproot the tree completely, take it out of the crust of the earth where the roots are fixed. If it has to be destroyed, if you want to destroy the tree, then it has to be uprooted. Don't misunderstand that the poet is not encouraging us, the poet is not suggesting us to destroy or kill the trees through this poem. He sarcastically tells us, indirectly tells us not to kill the trees, and it is an inhuman act, and we are endangering ourselves, harming ourselves by doing so. Okay, now let us see the poem. On killing a tree. Oh, you must have observed people cutting down trees. Do you think it is the right thing to do? Do you think it is a just or discriminate act? No. But can they kill a tree if they want? Can they kill the tree easily? Is it easy to do so? No. It's not that easy to destroy or end the life of a tree. Okay, let us see the ways how we must destroy the tree and what are the points that the poet suggests to do here through this poem. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves, so hack and chop. But this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It's to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely, out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source, white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth, then the matter of scorching and choking, in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it's done. So, this poem is written by, I remind you again, G.V. Patel. Let's see the glossary or the new words and I explain you stanza wise in detail. Okay, listen to me attentively. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. So, it is a hard task to kill a tree. It's not an easy effort. It's not an easy job. Job means sudden rough blow. That means that we try to cut or destroy a tree by using any tool such as axe or saw, etc. Not a simple job of the knife. A knife cannot simply do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth. You know how a seed gives rise to a plant and how a plant grows into a huge tree. It is a continuous process. What does it do? It's slowly consuming the earth. Slowly consume means, what's the meaning of the word consume? Utilize, use the earth, the soil, the nutrients, rising out of it, growing out of the soil, feeding upon its crust. What's the meaning of the word crust? The outermost layer of the earth or soil. Okay. Upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water. What are the requirements? What are the requisites or nutrients that plants need to grow well? You are all aware of that. Sunlight, air, water, these are the essential factors. And where do the plant get these? From the nature. Sunlight, from the air, and water. These are the things that plant require to grow. And out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Leprous hide means discolored bark. Leprous means in which the color is lost. Hide means nothing but the outer cover. What do you call that? Bark. Sprouting. Sprout means growing. Sprouting leaves. Okay. At the beginning, a sapling will come out of the seed. A very tiny one. And that consuming all the requirements, sunlight, air, water, etc. And it grows and grows in the course of time. Out of its leprous hide. That means discolored bark. The bark color also gradually changes as it grows. What does the poet want to tell us through these lines? That means a simple cut does not destroy a tree. It's not that easy to destroy or kill a tree. A tree grows gradually. It takes a lot of time. It does not occur all of a sudden. Next, it's rooted in the soil. Its roots are very deep in the soil. A plant takes nutrition from the soil to grow into a big tree. As I explained you earlier, it takes all the nutrients from the soil to grow, such as sunlight, air, water, etc. The tree is firmly, means tightly, compactly bound, means attached with the soil. It is connected with the soil. It takes in sunlight, water and air to grow into a strong trunk. In course of time, the tender plant becomes a stable one, a hard trunk, and have numerous leaves, and it gives rise to number of leaves also. That is a important or the key factors the poet wants to tell us through this stanza. Let's see the next one. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. So hack and chop. What's the meaning of hack? Cut roughly by striking heavy blows by using any tool. Chop also means the same, cut something into pieces in order to destroy. But this alone won't do it. If we just cut the tree by using any tool roughly or by striking heavy blows, we cannot completely destroy or kill the tree. But this alone won't do it. Means it's not enough to kill a tree. Not so much pain will do it. It will not cause any pain. It will not cause any trouble. It cannot put the tree to an end. The bleeding bark will heal. Here, bleeding bark. See, what's the meaning of the phrase bleeding bark here? The bark means the outer skin of the tree. How bleeding is used? This bleeding is used only for human beings, when their skin or the body parts are cut or amputated, then blood comes out, oozes out. But the poet uses bleeding bark here, the bark which is bleeding. That means the poet attributed human qualities to this tree. So metaphor is being used here. Bleed means to come out a blood or some liquid. So if the bark of the tree, or if a heavy blow is made, then what happens? A sap, a liquid substance will come out of the tree. And in the same way, similarly, if our body is damaged, if our skin is ruptured or injured, then blood will come out. And so when the bark of the tree is damaged or cut, then the sap or the liquid part will come, and in course of time it gets cured, means it repairs itself, will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. So if you just cut the trunk and remove the bark and throw it out, that's not enough. In course of time, gradually, by and by, small green twigs, curled means twisted, which are not straight enough, will grow again. Miniature boughs. Bough means one of the branches of the trees. Miniature means tiny, very small. Once again, the trunk which remains on the crust or earth or soil gives rise to green twigs and small boughs. Once again it grows into a plant and becomes a tree in course of time. If unchecked, if you are not aware of that, that grows again, will expand again to former size. Former means previous. So don't misunderstand that the poet is not encouraging or suggesting us to destroy trees, and he is giving some ideas or clues to us. He indirectly tells us it is an inhuman act to destroy the trees, and the trees are also living beings. So we cannot simply destroy them by cutting the trunk. He explains the process in detail. What does the poet want to tell us through these lines? Humans cut and chop the bark of the trees into many pieces, but that's not sufficient. That's not enough to destroy the tree. The point of the tree, that means the portion of the tree which gets cut, the trunk which is removed, gives out sap. That's what you call bleeding bark. What happens when you try to cut it? A kind of liquid or sap will come out, just like human beings bleed when the skin or the body is injured. Gradually, this would heal. This would heal from the new branches start growing again, and that may heal itself, that repairs itself, and that takes care of itself, and once again gives rise to small green twigs and branches, etc., and grows into the former size in course of time. Okay. Next. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring it. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely, out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source, wide and wet, the most sensitive, hidden, for years inside the earth. What's the meaning of the phrase? Anchoring it. Trees are held securely, that means safely or tightly, with the help of the roots in the earth. And you see the parts of the plant, the tree, and the tree is usually divided into two parts: shoot system, root system. The part of the tree or the plant which is visible to us from outside the earth, as it is called the shoot system, and something remains inside and grows deep and fixes. What do you call this? Root system. The roots help the plant to stand firmly, means stably. So roots are very important. They provide salts, nutrients, and all the requirements, and give support to the plant. That's what you call anchoring, means fixing well deep. snapped out, chopped out, means to cut into pieces and remove. Okay, the root is pulled out. In this poem, through these lines, in this stanza, the poet tells us that the process of destroying or cutting the tree. Okay, what does the poet want to tell us through these lines? He tells us that in order to kill the tree, in order to destroy, it has to be uprooted. It has to be completely removed. It's not just enough if we cut the trunk and remove. Once again, from the remaining part, from the leftover, green twigs and small boughs or branches grow, and in course of time the pot becomes or grows into a big or huge tree. So one has to separate the tree from the earth. One has to disconnect, detach, which supports it. The roots must be taken out of. That means the tree must be uprooted. Then the roots of the tree bind or attach or stick the tree with the soil in the pit of the earth. That's what you call cave. It's a deep hole. As the plant grows up, and the roots also grow downwards and fix the tree and give support. From there, the most sensitive and hidden part of the tree. What is that? What is the most sensitive and hidden part of the tree which we cannot see from outside? The roots. The roots have to be detached. The roots have to be separated in order to kill or destroy the tree. The roots are white in color. The roots are usually white in color or colorless and are damp, means wet or moist. Okay, next. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, weathering, and then it's done. What's the meaning of the scorching and choking? The drying up of the tree after being uprooted. What happens when you cut or detach a tree from the soil or the ground or the crust? It loses the connection, it becomes lifeless, and due to the sunlight and air, it may lose its color, the leprous side may change, and it may become hard, and it may lose the straightness, means twisting, so it may lose the liquid part, and finally it dies. There is no scope of growing again when we uproot the tree. What does the poet want to tell us through these stanzas or lines? Once a tree has been uprooted, the tree gradually withers and dries up because it becomes lifeless. With the action of the heat and wind, the trunk will become brown because it loses connection from the soil and no nutrients, since the roots are taken out of the earth, and it becomes brown and loses its color, just like a patient who suffers from the worst disease, leprosy, may lose its color of the skin and suffer from kind of infection, and the skin may be eaten up and looks very ugly. In the same manner, when the roots are taken out of the earth, when the tree is uprooted after cutting, then in course of time, due to sunlight and wind, then the color of the tree or the trunk may be changing, and it may lose its straightness, twist, and will harden, become very hard. Ultimately, finally what happens? The tree will die in this way. Next. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Then the matter of scorching, I told you the process, what happens when we cut and uproot the tree. So here scorching and choking means the drying of the tree, that has been already explained in the same is once again given here. Next, what are the literary devices being used by the poet in this poem? No rhyme scheme is there in the poem. That means the entire poem is written in free verse. There is no rhyme or rhythm. You have come across many poems in which the rhyme or rhythm is not used by the poet. That means such poems in which no rhyme or rhythm is used are called free verse poems. So, very simple to read. Next one is enjambment. what's enjambment? You are familiar with this because many of the previous poems we discussed also consist of this literary device. When one sentence continues into two or more lines, that means the last word of the first line is connected or continues with the first word of the next line. That means there will not be any punctuation, there will not be any pause. One line continues into two or more lines, there will be continuity. And where this enjambment is being used in this poem by the poet, look here, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. See, knife after no punctuation marks, the last word of this line, and that continues with the next line will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth. Here also, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. The most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. Let me show you where this enjambment is used in this poem that we have discussed till now. Look here. The lines which are shown here. Knife that continues with next line will do. Grown that continues with next line slowly. Feeding that continues with next line upon its crest. And absorbing again years of sunlight. And you find no punctuation mark and no pause there. This kind of phenomenon of continuation of one line with the consecutive or the following line without any pause or break is called enjambment. Okay. And where enjambment is being used by the poet here, in the next stanzas also as being used, we can observe this now. See here. Heel, and from close to the ground. And again to the ground will rise cold green twigs. Here also enjambment is being used. Next, in the next stanza also, snapped out or pulled out entirely. This also the same phenomena. The same literary device, enjambment is being used. Next, last line, last stanza. The matter of scorching and choking. And in the sun and air. So these are the perfect examples of enjambment that are being used in the poem. Next, and metaphor. You know what metaphor is? Indirect comparison. Means taking an object or an idea or a thing and comparing indirectly. The two things which are being compared may not have any direct relation, but they will have comparison. The poet makes comparison to explain that effectively. Where metaphor is being used here, leprous hide. The uneven color, the color which is not uniform of the surface of the trunk of a tree is compared to the skin of a person suffering from leprosy. Leprosy is the worst disease, or one no human desires to have. The uneven color of the surface of the trunk. The color of the surface of the trunk, that means the exposed part of the tree, the stem. Color is not uniform. It is discolored here and there. And so the poet compares the discolored bark or the trunk to that of the skin of a person suffering from leprosy. So here there is no actual comparison between the human being suffering from leprosy and the trunk. But here both are compared. Indirect comparison is being used. So that's what you call metaphor. Bleeding bark, the sap coming out of the tree where is cut is compared to the bleeding from the wound as a human body. So here you can see the phenomena metaphor which is being used in the poem here. Look here. Leprous hide. Indirect comparison is made. The trunk of the bark of the tree is compared to the skin of the human being suffering from leprosy. Is a kind of ailment. Next, here also metaphor is being used. Bleeding bark. I have already explained you. Bleeding bark. How bark will bleed? Only humans will bleed. But here, human qualities are being attributed to the bark here. And when we cut the bark, when we remove the bark, kind of liquid or sap will come out, and it's similar to the blood that comes out of human body. Okay. Next one is alliteration. You are quite familiar with this because almost all poems consist of this kind of literary device. repetition of a consonant sound in two or more closely placed words, the consecutive words. Okay, how many consonants are there? There are 21 consonants. So consonant sound will repeat. Bleeding bog, see here, ba sound. White and wet, wa sound. So here the same letters are being used, sound also repeats. Look here in this poem, bleeding bog, B and B, conveying ba sound. So what is B? A consonant. A, E, I, O, U are vowels and the rest of the letters are consonants. And next, white and wet, wa sound. So W and W. So here alliteration is being used by the poet here. Next, repetition. A word or sentence is repeated to lay emphasis, some special importance or significance or stress on it. Pulled out is repeated throughout the poem here. Okay, more than twice. Look here, where is being used? Pulled out. It's to be pulled out and pulled out or pulled out. So, repetition. Why repetition is generally used by the poet in the poem? Emphasis, to highlight, to signify the stress or give importance to that. What must be done to destroy the tree here? It must be pulled out. It must be pulled out means it must be uprooted. Okay. Thank you very much.